pick-oriented composition coming out with the LeBlanc, with the Viego, either in jungle or topside. Actually, not quite sure, right? These are flex picks coming out for both Viego and the Volibear. And once again, we have a Tahm Kench. So hopefully can work out better than we saw last time around. Yeah. Again, there's some interesting plays you can set up with that Abyssal Dive that we didn't get to see, but yeah, I think two really interesting compositions, but OMG, in my mind, in a much stronger place with their draft compared to what V5 had than last time around.
Yeah, I feel like this time around, seeing Uniboy on something that can, you know, have that vital flight as we get the Viego jungle in the end and the Volibear in the top lane. Not what I expected, as we've seen a lot of Volibear jungle in recent days. So I feel like, Lyric, we have to talk a little bit about what happens in the mid lane. Obviously, Creme has scaling. Uniboy as well wants to get off the ground. And that, to me, is a great place to start, looking at where PZX, especially at 6, can start making an impact.
Ooh, Uniboy. Okay, just going to take a little bit of trade. Definitely going to want to recall, though, for the fact that you don't want to go into lane, you know, at an HP disadvantage. And Creme doing a nice job of delaying that recall. Minion's already coming out, so not even going to be able to go for it. But I think when we look at PZX's side, right, you're definitely linking up with your mid laner. Uniboy should be able to have pressure in this lane. If you are able to land your combo, get the distortion in, hit your chain, throw out an auto attack. And, you know, if you're just using distortion to close distance a Q, you proc electrocute, you win the trade in mid lane, you then have prio, and you can start moving around the map with PZX, where for OMG, I think they're the team that can take it slower this time around. They're the team that can try to counteract what Victory 5 are doing. I think you want to play more around jungle, right? Aki's going to be the strong member. If you can hover around mid lane or use the prio, you should be able to get in bot. You turn that to jungle invade, start getting this Olaf ahead, and start shutting down this Viego.
I'd like to see, especially since for Aki, he's had some really strong jungle games this split, and seeing him on something that can create priority like the Olaf is always worth noting, as he's down towards the bottom side for a top side linking clear. Also going towards the Renekton, there's a lot of burst, a lot of setup with stun, and great early game damage access between the top jungle 2v2 of OMG.
Yeah, I'd say there's quite a strong 2v2 on both sides, definitely favoring Olaf over the Viego in early 2v2s, so I definitely think pre-6 OMG will be favored in that one, to where post-6 is where Victory 5 can start looking to contest that one. But like I said, for Victory 5, I don't necessarily think you're looking for any topside 2v2s. You're doing what we're seeing on our screen right now, looking for this mid-jungle combo.
With Creme so far out, it's an instant flash looking for the chain over the wall, but PZX is on the hunt as Undertow connects. It was like a spiritual movement there with the Q from Aki, and that stops V5 from advancing any further.
Yeah, overall, I still think it is a worthwhile trade for Victory 5, getting Orianna Flash and losing out on LeBlancs, because LeBlanc, you still have ways to close distance, get the ethereal chains to land, as we see a trade coming on bot.
And there's an Ignite down on Kepler as well, cleansed away. He'll have to walk back after burning one summoner. Versus the Ignite from Colt, so an even trade at the end, but a HP bar advantage for OMG.
Yep, nice trade coming out for the side of OMG. And Hysterics, we're just getting non-stop action this time around.
Sky Splitter, and wait, Aliez flashed against the wall, but you still dead. Solo kill for the Volibear, and Aliez stands true.
Yeah, flashes coming out for both sides. I'm not sure if Aliez was able to dodge out on the Q in the end. I thought dodging on the Sky Splitter would be enough for New, but in the end, it wasn't. I mean, this is a matchup we saw so much of last year, right? Once you hit that level 3 mark, Volibear doing so well in these trades. Gonna back and buy a Warden's Mail, so not gonna be any easier for New, who's told us by buying that call, he's just farming. He's just playing to get some gold to impact skirmishes a bit later on. But Aliez is going to be the one to have a big impact if any early game fights break out on the top side.
I mean, that's massive, right? Double Summoners now down. The Warden's Mail you already mentioned. Just fun to see the Volibear's level of healing, but also his huge damage on the second part of W. And now that the Cull's been picked up, you already talked about the farming. And I'm excited to see where this goes from here, because you said nothing's going to be happening in the top side. Now, of course, Aliez is getting close towards 6 PZX there as well. An opportunity to dive when you have the Stormbringer, when you have Heartbreaker reset for the Viego. But for now, he'll just think about going back to the lane where it all started with Orianna.
And the thing is, right, you look at the minions. Creme's wave is pushing into Uniboy, so hoping that they can punish the window that they got for themselves earlier, right? They got Creme's flash. This is where you want to punish, but Creme playing extremely respectfully. Not even going to walk up, just being in range to get some EXP from the minions. If he does lose out, it's not too big of a deal. So I like the way that OMG are playing this one so far. like we said, they're not really in the team who needs to be in the driver's seat of making any aggressive plays. That's why we're seeing a lot of just full clearing coming out from Aki. With the fact that Creme lost his flash early on, it really prevented any of the early river skirmishes or invades into enemy jungles that we talked about potentially being able to come out from the side of OMG. Does look like Aki now just gonna come and show on mid and help get a bit of prio for Creme and just default back to his topside jungle.
And give the ability for Creme to keep pushing in this wave. Not sure if it was spotted out as PZX crossed through to the bottom wave, but there is a ward on Krugs. A really deep ward from OMG that spots that up, knows that that's probably going to be the pathway for PZX soon. And know that he's probably on the bottom side of the map, so Aki going top side, opposite sides here for the time being to see what he can achieve after doing Krugs.
And the wave is pushing for Aliez, so it would be an angle where Aki would be able to look for a gank, but he's so low on mana, I have a feeling he's just going to back off. I want to move to the opposite side of the map real quick, just to highlight this Tahm Kench, right? We talked about him a little bit in game one, but I haven't really hit on him too in depth in terms of like what we've been seeing around the world, because this is a champion that has been picked up in other regions on this patch. He's now been played for 6 games. He's 1-5, so not all too successful, and it goes back to what we hit on in game one, that in solo queue was being played a lot more as a top laner. His play pattern is a lot more aggressive. And you don't really have too much to offer as a support pick overall, which feels like one of the reasons why we're not seeing ZYF or Tahm Kench overall have any kind of massive impact in the laning phase or on the map.
Because a lot of the top support players love this pick, right? We talk about Crisp, we talk about, you know, Ming, Mako in the past as well. Maybe not really a Mako champion, but I know some of the top-tier top laners or bottom laners like it as ZYF is making his impact known. We talk about the Tahm Kench, can still dive the hell out of turrets.
Really nice seeing that one come out. Not even level 6, so typically, right, you see the Devourer used as one of the tools in setting up dives, but knowing they have enough damage between Uniboy and PZX. I'm not quite sure if they had information on where Aki was at that moment, but really nice read coming out from them. And V5 in the same position they were last game for the 2-0 start.
I mean, things are looking good here. And when you have a Viego who's now building momentum, when you have a LeBlanc who's got a bit of a CS lead, that's what we talked about, the mid 2v2 and how impactful it could be. And PZX is pretty close to hitting level 6 as well, so those dives can continue. Creme may have flash up but available, but the burst damage will continue to be harassing as Aki starts the dragon up here, Lyric, moments before the Herald spawns, so it might be a bit of a trade here if V5 are quick to the chase and set PZX top.
Yeah, and that's what we're seeing already, right? PZX and ZYF making their way towards the top half of the map. I feel like OMG take this dragon fast enough as we see them about to finish it, that if Victory 5 went for any topside play for Herald, OMG are actually in a position to contest. We talked about the importance of bot prio when you're looking for an objective like the Rift Herald, and OMG are using that to its maximum force and just already moving Abel and Cole to the mid lane.
Look how far behind Kepler is, and True Shot Barrage was used to try and steal the dragon away. PZX right on top of the objective, but OMG make their presence known. I want to point out that Cole doesn't have the solar flare yet, though. That's something that could come in handy if they're able to pick up 6 on the support. As Herald's going to lose aggro, Aliez even moving down after getting a reset top, and everything goes back to being as chill as a cucumber.
And for OMG, I think you're fine in this scenario. Creme going to pick up this wave, which is going to let Victory 5 just start up the objective right away. Look at Abel's weapons, though. Does have Crescendum Severum, so having the highest DPS guns available, and I like this new wrapping around so they all are walking in from the same angle.
I mean, Creme's actually versing Uniboy. This might not be as good as it seems, as Creme is already forced out of the fight. 4 versus 5 with Uniboy on the flanking angle, and OMG now getting sandwiched. But the question is, what's on that sandwich, Lyric? Maybe a little bit hungry as the all-in begins. It's Aliez right to think the shockwave as well. Not really good enough here. V5 going to their doom. And it's new at full HP. It's OMG's Abel, who has the DPS you talked about. And ZYF has to Abyssal Voyage the hell out of there.
And you know, you asked what was on the sandwich. I feel like OMG didn't have a sandwich. They were hungry, they didn't know what they were doing, and then Victory 5 said, here, have mine, because we were in a scenario where Creme was completely chunked out, Abel threw Moonlight Vigil, and I think it only hit Aliez, so it was a complete waste, and then Victory 5 just not capitalizing on that. Looked like they were potentially waiting out for Uniboy's cooldowns to come back up, but I feel like as Victory 5, if you're opting into the contest, there is literally no better time for you to look for the engage than that moment where Creme was forced out from the fight. So
yeah,
I feel like Victory 5 definitely missed a massive window, and it opened up for a situation where, you know, OMG weren't as punished as they should have been.
When OMG with the team behind, when V5 found a couple of advantages, but you're right. I mean, Uniboy not in, and Creme actually does something in the backline.
Yeah, Creme comes back in, forced a flash out right away, but I feel like Victory 5 should have engaged. Pretty much at the start of this clip, you did have the ult on your Volibear available. Just jump right in. You already had your Ezreal outputting a ton of damage, try to set up for the resets, and no Herald able to be picked up, and no members of OMG going down in that exchange, and OMG being the team to actually pick up a kill. So definitely feel like Victory 5 flopping that one a little bit. But for OMG, 600 gold behind, you are now defaulting back to the standard lane states. You're keeping up in farm, and everything's going according to plan.
And you got the kill on the Aphelios. I mean, that's an Quiver straight up there, and with Berserker Greaves, Abel in a very good position. He talked about OMG being able to take their time in this game. Nothing says taking your time more than having an Aphelios in a great position this early on.
No, you're right. I'm so interested to see what OMG are going for. Control ward down, so V5 don't know what's going on, but with the fact that ZYF is making his way towards mid right now, Kepler not going to give any window for a play to come out. And it looks like Victory 5 at least understand their win condition, right? Is that you're already sending ZYF towards the mid lane, maybe going to set up for a potential play with Creme still not having flash. Look for the same sort of three-man gank they looked for earlier when you found the dive.
All right, as PZX spotted out and on ward here for the time being. Arky just rotating around, going towards the top side. These Raptors are up and available. I like the PZX hovering around. Creme not expecting it. He's going to get slapped down for a second as ZYF now shows himself as well. No dice. Creme doesn't have his flash available, but doesn't care at this point. Dragon's a minute away, Lyric. I think I should point out that V5 trying to get aggressive around this objective timer might open things up to be a bit competitive again.
Yeah, and Victory 5, just going back to the tools that we talked about of looking for these plays on mid, and for OMG, it's also the response. It's like, hey, just look for the counter play. Right now they're hovering around Creme, who's taking a ton of damage.
Good stuff. Uniboy getting up in his face. He's got a 20 CS lead, by the way, folks, and Lost Chapter making a bit of a difference here in the mid lane, but OMG still able to move towards bot. 30 seconds until the Dragon. And I'm looking at TPs here, Lyric. Everyone's got it available that should have it available as well. A couple of summoner spells down, especially those flashes on the soul laners of OMG. Aliez with his as well. But everyone else with summoners to trade.
I'm a little surprised that Aliez isn't just making his way towards the Dragon outright with it up in 10 seconds. For Victory 5, you don't really care about the Dragon too much in general, but I feel like for Victory 5, you care about trying to get a skirmish going around the Dragon. When your LeBlanc is still strong, when your Volibear is winning out on the top side of the map, and when, you know, champions like Orianna still haven't fully come online. So for Victory 5, they're going to be spotted on wards, so Creme definitely not going to give any windows available. They still are in position to where if they wanted to look for any sort of startup on the Drake, but with the fact that they move over to mid first, it actually opens up more opportunity to push from Abel and Cold, and OMG going to be the team to use this window.
I'm not sure if they're actually going to continue it, though. Dragon will reset for the time being. And Vision still cleared out here for the side of OMG. PZX taking a bit of a free trade, but Lyric, it's gun analogy time, because Abel has the duo once again.
Yep, has the pretty much the minigun, the turret coming out from him.
Are you ready for a TP though? Because we've got to watch Abel in the backline, who's dove onto, but the Severin with the Moonlight Vigil, and ZYF going solo in the backline. New himself has done the dirty in the front line, and OMG now, they move forward. They want to pick up the pieces. They already got the Dragon, and this frog is about to be unclogged, but Creme will pick it up. Somehow Abel actually gets the kill. Okay, guess Creme didn't hit him in the end.
I feel like we've been asking ourselves, what are these supports doing so many times in this series? Just between Cold and ZYF, one game from another, mistake after mistake, aggressively going too far in. And it's kind of funny that nothing really happened. OMG still got the Dragon in the end, but just a bit of a staring contest coming out. Victory 5 looked like they wanted the engage. OMG back off from the Dragon at first, but it opens up for the TP to come in for new, where OMG feel confident to take the fight. And then, like you said, we see the Abyssal Dive come in from ZYF, and OMG are just like, okay, We'll take this.
Yeah. Free frog. Feels quite nice. And again, able to pick up another kill. 2-0 and Aliez here with the Immortal Shield Bow. I feel like at this point for OMG, things are just going swimmingly. And it's unfortunate, Lyric, because we're on the hype train of V5 after game 2. Let's be honest. Swayed in one way for the team that's a 0-11, considering they picked up their second ever game win. But OMG are getting handed a bit of a platter, and now around the second Herald, I'm curious as to if V5 even want to contest this one. Maybe starting with Creme, that's a great response, but we have to remember, there are some good items on OMG at this point in the game.
And we've seen this continuously done, right? Where Victory 5 are trying to find pressure on objectives through mid by chunking typically Creme out with Uniboy's LeBlanc and then walking in through mid pressure, to where OMG have done what we're seeing on our screen. They've just consistently hovered around their Aphelios lane, the lane that gets prio, to try to find a window to get River and find the fights that they need.
Well, now, once again, pushing out the top side. This time, trying to chunk out someone like Abel. It's Uniboy always starting it off as well with the chain, but back over the wall, the Herald there. I like that New is on the angle with Creme as well. We have to watch out, because for V5, if they get caught in this web, New's going to tear them apart. And with Dominus down, I mean, OMG is straight on into the battle. Aki as well. It's an Olaf in the early game. They're all diving in. ZYF is dead again, and the Volibear can't help out anyone. Kepler's late to the show. It's a double kill, and it's a fire sale with V5 having to go.
Yeah, and I love the play coming out from OMG, right? You have your Orianna showing in mid lane with New sitting in a brush, the other members wrapping around, and Victory 5 didn't expect New to be there. Pops a Dominus, and they finally engage. Seems like OMG are finally starting to find the plays they need to really open up an advantage. Not only sitting on 2 Drakes now, but also sitting on a small bit of a gold lead. And with this Herald going down, you imagine it's going to turn into a bigger one.
You really do. I mean, that's going to be a turret at least given over to the Aphelios. Kepler in a bit of trouble there as Shockwave comes through. The Arcane shifts in time, but this is solo kill territory. Creme running out of mana, but the command attack at the ready. Dissonance maybe not there with the mana bar. And Creme almost picking up a solo kill, adding pressure while top lane goes down. OMG with the 2k gold lead at 17 minutes. Double Dragon. Game 3 looking mighty fine.
Hysterics, do not disrespect Kepler. He had his flash. He was fine the whole time. That was not dicey or on a knife's edge at all. As you know, what is on a knife's edge is actually, I'd say the game overall for V5, because we're getting to this point where we wanted to see how this LeBlanc was utilized to find picks, to find pressure. We are going to see here. There's actually OMG with the clever play. They kept Creme in mid lane. They made it seem like, hey, we know where all the members of OMG are. They go for this contest while Victory 5 are trying to get deep vision down in OMG's jungle, and it opens up that Rift Herald. So for Victory 5, when you've consistently looked for this play, and you have found consistent damage onto the Orianna sometimes, but haven't really been able to utilize that into an advantageous fight, despite the fact that there have been many opportunities, I think feels quite bad for V5, especially when you look at OMG's items coming out already, all the mythics across the board. And there's a ton of healing and a ton of sustain for the side of OMG. So when you're looking at V5's comp and it is so burst heavy, I don't think that's looking too good when OMG will be able to sustain all of that up right away. Yeah,
and there's no healing reduction either, right? We look across the item set that's already there. V5 don't have any grievous wounds. They don't have anything that can stop that. OMG actually going on the hunt. Look at New again. Just comes out of the left field. ZYF. This frog is just so confused.
Yeah, ZYF making a bunch of mistakes. I do believe Tahm Kench is a catfish. I do think so. I could be wrong. I thought that my whole life, but
you unclog the frog, you uninhibit the rivet, you unbench the Kench. I mean, I don't know what rhymes with catfish, honestly. But you unhinge.
Well, you can look it up right now. Is Uniboy goes in.
Go look it up. V5 want this dragon badly because this will lead to Soul Point. But Aki has damage. And look at New again. Just comes out of the wing. But this time, will he die? Well, he gets a stun down. He's a couple autos away. Healed up by Abel. New is a big crook with the help of all of his best friends.
So, Hysterics, the only one of these rhymes that actually looks like words is flat dish. I don't really know how you
bring out the flat dish for the catfish. Perfect.
There we go.
Great.
That's the best we got. We got fat fish, but you can't rhyme with one word being the same, so
You
yeah,
can't?
the flat dish.
Okay, fair enough. Well, thank you for teaching me about rhyming, to be quite honest. I feel like I've had arguments on what words rhyme throughout the years. I don't know if that shows my intellect or maybe just that I haven't really finished year 5. But yeah, we're learning every day here at the LPL. Folks, just a quick reminder to you that OMG, they're 6-6 at the moment. There's a reason we've been harping on OMG beating V5 here today, even after V5 picked up game 2. To bring you back, if OMG win this, they move up with JDG, BLG, Suning. They keep on that 6-loss club, but things get a little bit more competitive, and they're a team that need wins badly if they want to make playoffs for this split.
Yeah, and like we highlighted earlier, I think the big thing for OMG is that they will be tied with JDG, a team that they still have a match against. So OMG needs to win here, which they are sitting on Soul Point. They do have a gold lead. They do have an Aphelios and Orianna scaling up.
Yep.
So I think this game looks pretty decent for OMG, you know, barring any throws. As I'm actually going to pause on the point we're making about OMG because they're setting up for a bit of a dive down in the bot side. Uniboy, going to be fine. Does have flash? You would assume his distortion's up by now as well. So only going to get a turret from that one. But for OMG, they're going to be able to use that pressure they got bot, make their way back towards mid, and potentially look for another engage.
I guess you're also just buying time at this point for OMG. I mean, leaving Abel in with Infernum means that he can wave clear in an instant. But Lyric, coming back to my point, you have a Mountain Soul in 3 minutes. OMG, all they have to do at this point is farm, right? And keep your waves in order and get ready to fight over this objective.
And another great point you made is, you know, that we don't have any healing reduction coming out for the side of V5. And I don't feel like you have any particularly great member who is able to buy it other than Kepler, right? Because, sure, Uniboy can pick up, like he has the Oblivion Orb right now, but I feel like for Uniboy, you're not going to be putting Grievous Wounds on the front line. You're only going to be looking to burst out the Aphelios or the Orianna, to where you need someone who's going to be targeting both the Olaf and the Renekton,
Here we go.
as V5 are doing now, but
no.
Nothing at the end of the day.
Well, that was TP. Around Dragon, nope. 2 minutes until it spawns, so a while to go. And pulling that summoner spell out from Uniboy, a big deal to the LeBlanc that we talked about, can play around flanks, can look for this burst angle, but OMG, the ones who benefit off of that trade. Flash for mid turret, definitely a big worth.
And it definitely feels like the theme of this series has been the team that picked, I don't even want to use the term scaling, but picked the composition that had to force less proactivity. That could be the team punishing mistakes. That can be the team playing back and being the reactive team has definitely won out in this series so far, right? We saw that in game 2, and we are now seeing that currently in game 3. That OMG drafted a comp where they're allowed to be the reactive force. Victory 5 are the ones who have to be looking to make plays around this LeBlanc, and OMG building up a massive gold lead for it. 1 minute 30 until Drake comes up. So you expect OMG to make their way up towards top like they're doing right now, push out this one wave. Maybe you even push out one more depending on the timing on Creme's TP. Looks like it's about 29 seconds right now, so should be good on that one. And then you'll be in a position where you start making your way down towards that Drake on the bottom half of the map. Well,
a minute 10 till it spawns, 23 minutes in. OMG still holding up that 3k gold lead. And again, less proactive. I like that you bring that up, that those are the comps that have been successful. For OMG, holding this steadfast presence through the mid lane in Abel. Now farming up with the Collector. Hysterics gauge on the jungler. Almost second item on the Renekton there as well. These items have just been coming calmly as they've been picking up waves. So right now for OMG, holding all the cards here in this game as Uniboy is trying to get some pickoffs, but Abel will insta-clear the wave. And that timer keeps getting closer towards that soul that is going to affect Game 3 and the series for OMG, or V5, depending on how we go.
Yeah, but for OMG, the great thing is going to be that they've gotten pressure on sides. You can see the wave get a crash soon in top.
Sure.
They have pushing wave in bot. You know, they're going to be able to bring their members mid to contest this mid wave. Creme did have TP like we mentioned earlier, so for OMG, they're going to have a lot of avenues where they're allowed to enter River, and they don't have to feel too bad about the vision control that Victory 5 have already gotten down.
Okay, well, LeBlanc's going into a Renekton. Good little trade. New's able to get himself half HP out of there. He has teleport as well, but for OMG, the rest of the members quite healthy, in a good position to now contest the dragon that has spawned.
And the thing is, Hysterics, Abel's done a great job at controlling which guns he has in time for fights, right? Because we've consistently seen this combo come out, And then, okay, so some good bursts coming out from V5 from Uniboy. They know what they need to do. Uniboy needs to keep being the one to find opportunities.
But Aliez is going in. It's on top of Abel. He buys time going golden, but look at the dragon here. Is it stolen away? No. Yes, it is. Sorry, but OMG taking the fight after the fact as a reset city. PZX is able to gap close. Kepler bursting down some damage. OMG, they lost Cold. They lost the dragon. V5, that's a huge win.
Yeah, and for Victory 5, it was Kepler, the one outputting all that damage onto Cold, who was trying to body block for the rest of his team. We saw Uniboy trying to get some pressure down. He chunked out Abel a little bit to start, but not able to find the same impact onto Creme. And for V5, the fact that you are, buying yourself some time, I think is massive. It is really good when this game would have fallen out of your hands completely if OMG picked up that soul. So Victory 5 getting themselves a little bit of time. Yep. OMG, I don't feel like they lose too much from that play. They like lose potential opportunities where Victory 5 can look to punish them. But we're gonna see here Cold on the opposite side of the fight trying to zone out members. Ooh. Just getting chunked out by Kepler. The Viego coming in. Nice job of finding the steal. The Olaf smite just coming out a bit too early. And then luckily for V5, they're able to find the disengage because OMG definitely the health bars to where they would have been able to take any preceding fight.
It's just insane with how V5 were looking. I thought that was lights out. I thought that was the moment where Dragon Soul goes over and OMG take away this series. But as you said, giving themselves a bit more time. Now I'm excited to watch someone like Uniboy here who's always angling around the wave before he shows himself. Trying for one of those pickoffs now with the completed Morellonomicon. OMG, however, back out on the map, and Baron is the objective that is up and obvious. But not going to be started for now, especially with the guns available for Abel, as we've been talking about all game.
I'm just happy we finally have the Executioner's Calling coming out from Kepler. Because like we said,
yep.
we needed a member of the side of Victory 5 who's going to be hitting frontline to be able to pick up some grievous wounds, especially now that Nu and Aki both have their Hysterics gauge finished, so even more sustained coming out from their side. V5 now being the ones to do a good job of controlling side waves, because this is what your comp needs to do in mid-game, right? You're up against an Orianna, a champion that is immobile, that feels very uncomfortable pushing outside lanes, really can't push out past her vision line unless other members like Aki and Cold are available. Yeah. So for the side of V5, push them out, rotate your core into mid lane like you always hear everyone say, start walking the enemy jungle, trying to deny vision. I feel like that's specifically what you need to do as V5, deny vision so you can find poke and find pick off with this LeBlanc.
It feels really nice with V5 right now. They've cleared all away OMG's Baron vision. A couple of wards here as poke from Creme starting to get menacing. But OMG moving back out. It is a war of attrition right now, back and forth. The ping pong continues at the same time. And after OMG clear this wave, I mean, we're just playing around mid. I like this. We are moving into Fog of War, into the river, but I just like that we're essentially all staying mid, then moving across, and now probably just waiting for the next dragon. Forget Baron.
I mean, it was I'd say the correct sequence to come out, right? Because V5 starting it off, pushing out sides, moving in, trying to... They actually didn't really try to get deep vision down. I think it's because no one on OMG's side was showing on any waves yet, so it didn't feel safe. OMG knowing that they can't contest those side waves, just trying to five-man force mid. But now that Nu's going for this, he might get caught out. Does that flash?
Well, Nu trying to slice and dice out like he's done many times before into the Dominus. The flash is available, but he won't burn it. He knows he's doomed. The rest of OMG, though, they're pinging it.
Yeah, and I mean, they have good guns for this. They're going to burn this down so fast. I actually don't think the members of V5 can get here in time.
Aliez with the TP at 5k. V5 need to stop this one. 2k, though. It's going down so quick. It's gone. It's gone with the guns available. Flash, flash, flash. Cold doesn't have his available. Triple flash to get away. Smooth criminals. We know that Michael Jackson would be proud. But OMG with 3, that's a Baron worth.
Yeah, and now for V5, they should be able to take mid-turret off this, but mid-turret for 3 Barons, like you're saying, as OMG, you feel exceptional. And death timers are also going to come up before Dragon, so OMG going to be able to contest all the objectives that they want. And we know our fans. The fan-favorite teams in the LPL are Rogue Warriors and V5. So I feel like watching this play, a lot of people are sitting in chat. They are not happy. They want to be spamming the V5 copy pastas. They want, pride for the Italian people. And OMG aren't letting that happen.
No, they're not. They're trying to bring back the memory that OMG were in four years past. 2017 spring, summer, things I threw at you at the start of the show. OMG, it's been that long since they've made playoffs, and This is a must-win series. Said it before. Game 2 was menacing that OMG managed to lose it. And now in front of their soul, they want to take a fight. It's onto ZYF. The Shockwave is a 2-mana with Abel getting a Moonlight Vigil. The Volibear getting out his honey. To the left, apparently, is new. Jumping into the backline. It's Kepler poking down. He's the chance for this fight. The Arcane shifts into the big bad Croc. And crikey, that hurt. OMG now get a root down onto Uniboy, who has to flash away. Chains connect, launch down onto the angry Viking. And OMG start the Dragon Lyric.
And now we're keeping our eyes on Kepler, right? Kepler's the one dishing out all this damage. He's gonna need to be the one to do work, but he's got chunked out.
Yeah, there's a big ball girl over to the left, playing with the hearts of Ezreal fans, but the dragon's gone. It's a Mountain Soul acquired, and now Kepler on the run. Creme over the wall, wait for it, with a quick combo, blasted with electricity.
There was just nowhere for him to go, and OMG do it. They have Baron, they have Soul, and it just looks like a matter of time for them to be able to pick up this win. Sadly, I really feel like Victory 5's comp is based around this LeBlanc, but he hasn't been able to find the impact that he needed. To be fair, that fight wasn't really his fault, right? It was other members getting caught out at the start of the fight. We saw a massive Shockwave and Moonlight Vigil. I think it was onto ZYF, Aliez, and it might have even been onto one more. Hey, we're actually going to get the replay of it. Comes here cold, finding the engage. Shockwave into 2. Actually, PZX doing a nice job of going golden to not get locked down by that. But the Moonlight Vigil came out, so you're effectively forced into what is now a 4v3 because Cold did go down in that exchange. I thought here Kepler might be able to bring it back, because your only hard engage tool is that Leona. She's down. Ezreal can now try to tether playoff ranges and find the win, but sadly for Victory 5, they weren't able to do that.
And we have to remember that what you talked about with OMG at this point in the game is coming into fruition. The Aphelios, the Orianna, the damage is becoming unmanageable. And that burst now with a Mountain Soul in front of you gets mitigated quite a lot. So for V5, I'm glad you brought up Kepler, because it does feel like if this game is going to be V5 bringing it back, Kepler is going to be this long-range damage carry that can actually build or buy through OMG's frontline shields.
Yep, we're going to be relying on this Ezreal, but I feel like OMG have been doing such a good job to knocking them opportunities, already forcing out the ult from Volibear. And I just got to say to Hysterics, while, you know, we have 2 seconds of downtime, I feel like Tahm Kench on this patch is just not it. From what we've seen today, from what I've seen in other regions, I am just not feeling the Kench. Not feeling it.
He's got Anathema's chains as well. I at least like innovative item choice here for his support. I'm not sure. Again, first time casting Tahm in the LPL here today. And I want to see it more. But you're right, Lyric. It hasn't been the greatest pick for ZYF. It's been a little bit janky here as well. And it does feel like Kepler has been the one to talk about rather than support picks. So try again next time at this point. It's definitely what I'm saying. There's OMG with the Mountain Soul, with a 4K gold lead, with Elder coming up, with Baron coming up, with an inner turret going down, with waves pushing in. Have this game by the reins.
Yeah, and OMG continuously having to play through this one lane setup. They really can't play through 3 lanes when they have an Orianna. Even playing through 2 lanes is quite risky, despite the fact that the enemy team does have Baron, so you could lose out in terms of map trade, though now the Baron being gone. But for OMG, I feel like you typically just want to get a push going on one of your lanes and then send new to group with the other members. If you do play on 2 lanes where you have new hard pushing one lane and the other 4 in the parallel lane, you're just opening for new to get picked off, which is one of the only ways we've seen V5 find kills and find picks back into this game so far.
Yeah, I hope that we can see something along the lines of an innovative pick, right? Uniboy has been trying to play some of those angles. Now with the Void stuff, we'll be able to blast through some of the front line. And but you talked about it, you know, he's not going to be aiming for the front line. He's looking for the back line there, at least past the Mountain Soul shield as well. But, man, that back line, that's a 4-item Aphelios. That's scary. I feel like the burst is going to come out from Abel before it comes out of Uniboy.
Yeah, I feel like that's not what you want to see, right? If Uniboy jumps in onto Abel, I don't know. I'm going to stop because I feel like we're going to get engaged.
Well, yeehaw. Here comes New and Arky close behind. He has Ragnarok, he has Flash available. Expect the Angry Viking to set this one up as Kepler on the wing. It's PZX behind him too. Someone else that we can talk about can deal a lot of damage, but needs space, needs room, needs the ability to separate opponents in these fights. Where's ZYF going? Okay, he's just back to the mid lane. He's used the Abyssal Dive. And OMG, after clearing this wave, they're going to pressure yet another Baron.
Yeah, and OMG can just keep looking at this, right? OMG feel confident to force the fight. They have nice vision control coming out, and the fact that they have their wave pushing in top lane means that there's fewer angles for V5 to come through and look for a flank. As Aliez is just going to go for it.
He flashes in, he's on top of Abel, but Abel immediately backs away, and the Volibear already dead. Kepler poking down, but it's not enough. Onto the Baron again.
And I'm really not sure what Aliez was expecting, just going for that straight up front-to-back engage.
Shockwave onto Kepler. PZX in the backline as well. Lyric. Comp's coming into fruition, man. V5 lose another Baron. It's OMG who are running for the win. And Creme, who's got so much momentum, dodges away, flashes forward. Uniboy blasted again.
And, you know, who would expect to see Creme solo killing a LeBlanc as an Orianna? Not something I expect to see. It is 35 minutes in the game. His damage is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But those opportunities should never present themselves. And now OMG, they have the wave. They do have right now a 5v3, but what will be a 5v4 with Aliez coming up. I think you just look for the end.
I mean, moments before the end, we've got to remember OMG. They needed this win so badly. If they can get to 7-6 here by defeating the Nexus, they'll move up alongside JDGs. This could be the final moment. The Solar Flare locking down. Z-Wave trying to save the day with the Ragnarok Olaf. Getting nitty-gritty in the backline, but Creme alongside Abel. Their damage way too immense. And V5, you almost had it. But OMG, they're still a potential playoff team.
You know, Hysterics, it's about the small steps for Victory 5. They got the one win in this series.
They did.
We will take that for today. But like you're saying, OMG being the true victor here, not only in terms of the series, but the fact that OMG now sitting on 7-6. They are tied with 3 other teams right now, so still in good competition for playoffs. You know, we still have teams like IG and LGD that are technically in the running, but I feel like teams like OMG, JDG, BLG, Suning, with the small bit of a lead they have, feels great having that bit of a buffer zone. So now for OMG, we're looking forward. We're looking at how they can continuously adapt to the meta, because that has been one of their big struggles that we've talked about, especially with having other players to rely on other than Creme. We saw in this game, right, they had a bunch of winning lanes throughout this series, but against a lot of other teams, you don't have that to rely on. So I think especially someone like New, who I think had a lot of good games today, needs to be stepping up in other series if OMG want to have more than one player to rely on.
That's right. And if they want to, you know, if they do make it to playoffs, if they are able to jump over that hurdle, then how far they can get and how far they can push it, right? There's always potential for OMG. So a good win here today, a good series, but I want to send off V5 for a second. It was against JDG that they got their first ever game win in this split. It's now against OMG that they pick up their second game win. Lyric, there are other records to be taken here for this team. I'm not sure if in lolesports history there has ever been a team that has had 2 splits of going 0-16. We know that spring 2020, V5 set their own records. 2021 summer, I know it's not something to be fully proud of, but I mean, V5, they're now 0-12. They've got 4 series left to go.
I mean, not to flame minor regions, because I'm a man who's, you know, coached in minor regions. I feel like it's probably been done before if you're counting minor regions. If you're talking major regions, no way. Definitely no way would 100% be the first time. But yeah, Victory 5. I don't know why that's a record we want to be keeping track of. That doesn't sound good. That doesn't make me happy thinking about that. I want good thoughts. I want positive energy.
Okay.
And then here you are, just trying to step on my boys. But 4v5, they...
Game 2, Lyric. Don't you dare. All right. I'm not fully stepping on them. I just want to say.
You know what? I don't want to hear anything from a man, you know, 2-timing with Goldberg. So you know what? That's my passive comment. I'm going to throw it right there. But we look at this series for OMG. I mean, Creme showing a bit more champion pool diversity with the Orianna, but surprisingly, Abel actually going to be the one to pick up the MVP. Like we said, his like usage of his guns to always make sure he was on the prime combos was really phenomenal to watch.
It was. I love watching Abel and team fighting. Again, I think there's been some moments here of Abel this split that have denounced him a bit and shown some of the weaknesses, but Abel, we remember, alongside Uzi, a bit of a fill-in. Abel was that AD carry who could have really great team fighting moments, so I'm glad to see him again. You know, second most MVPs, I believe, on this OMG squad. And you have to remember that this Aphelios was so far ahead all the time in this game.
Yeah, and he was just having such a massive impact as well. Maybe he wouldn't always find the Moonlight Vigils on the targets that needed to be hit, but he was always dealing the DPS in the team fights in the right position, playing with, especially it was Aki to make sure that he did have peel and was set up to do well and really take over the game. So, you know, nice shout out to Abel. Abel has been a bit of a secondary carry for this OMG roster. Not really a massive laning AD carry, but when it does get later on in the team fights and he is in a neutral position, Abel can have these kind of games.
He can, and it's good to see here for OMG when every win matters. A quick reminder as to what we talked about at the start here with OMG picking up a win today. JDG LGD Top Esports remaining series. OMG now sit at 7-6, Lyric. Alongside Suning, BLG, JDG, you could say RNG and Top Esports, but they've got more games to play. And considering today is a shorter day, I mean, it means the standings towards the end of week 7 as we cap it off, finish off nicely. Now, a quick reminder as we look at standings.